What is good, everyone? Deanna here with Label Free Podcast. Autumn is in the air, the pumpkins are in the patch, and our friends at Manscaped are here to make sure your man doesn't carve his pants pumpkins when he's grooming, if you know what I mean. Make sure he's keeping things fresh this fall with the leaders in male grooming and their brand new 4th edition performance package. Ladies, do we really want to cuddle up with a dude who isn't trimmed? I know I don't. My man's keeping it tight. Get him to take the leap into fall with Manscaped. Help him join the 2 million men worldwide using Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the code LABELFREE20. Again, go to manscaped.com and use the code LABELFREE20 for 20% off and free shipping. What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Kemple with Label Free Podcast. Live your best life. You must live label free. I'm super excited about my next guest. This is very much needed, what she has created. She went from a stay-at-home mom, she's a survivor of breast cancer, to now a creator of a dating app, which is very different than the dating apps that you're seeing out there today. Please welcome Anna Leonarda to the show. Anna, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Can you please introduce yourself to the audience and tell them a little bit about your background?
So I'm a 9-year breast cancer survivor, and because of the treatment that I had, I developed a form of sexual dysfunction. And I created a dating app for individuals that do have sexual dysfunction because they need a place to go to where they don't have to be embarrassed or rejected when they do go on a regular dating app and meet somebody. They may not understand that that person cannot have intercourse. And the reason I created Entwine in the first place is because back in the day, I had endometriosis, and intercourse was always painful for me, and I ended up developing a condition where my vagina broke. So it's actually called vaginismus. It's actually a condition of it. It's called the vaginismus, and what it is the internal, the muscles of the vagina, the internal opening, or the opening of it is spasming.
Right.
And it's involuntary, and it's because all this pain that I've been having all these years, eventually my vagina broke, and I went to the doctor, and I said, what the heck's wrong with me? And I had to go for therapy, which was painful as it is. And I ended up getting breast cancer 2 years after that diagnosis. So I'm like, wow, I have endometriosis, a broken vagina, and now I have breast cancer. Wow. So I was 36 years old. I found a breast lump in the shower. I ended up having 3 tumors on my left side. And so my libido was already bad as it is. Yeah. And then since my breast cancer was hormone positive, I had to get rid of all the estrogen in my body and forced into menopause. So I had 7 surgeries total, hysterectomy, lost all my hair and everything. And the oncologist is like, well, your libido's going to get worse. And I said, well, it's not even possible, you know. So but it was possible. It got a lot worse, and just vaginal dryness and all this stuff. And then so I was married for 20 years, and then I got divorced after a 20-year marriage. 2 years ago I got divorced, and I thought, what am I going to do? How am I going to find somebody? You know, they're not going to understand my sexual limitations.
Right.
And I thought, you know, it'd just be easier to stay single, because if I tell a guy I can't have intercourse, he's going to be like, you know, forget that, or cheat on me. Who knows what would happen? So I thought, you know, I'll just stay single. Then I thought, no, like, this isn't fair. Right. There's so many men out there. Actually, in the U.S., I believe there's 33 million men that have ED. Right. And worldwide, it's almost 300 million men.
Wow. And
I thought, what do these guys do?
Right.
You know, so even my friends that they've gone on dates in the past, they'll be like, this guy has ED. All these guys have ED, and it's so, you know, I don't want to be with a guy with ED. And I said, that's not. I'm like, save the guy's number. You know, it was you never know.
There's a silver lining. Hey, it'd be good for me. You know?
Save it for me, yeah. So that's they didn't save it, unfortunately. But
oh darn!
I know.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah, it was too late.
They could be on the dating app too. They could use it.
Yes, exactly. I know. That's what I was saying. Like I'm thinking that too. But then it'd kind of be weird. Hey, you dated my sister like 2 years ago. Do you remember? You know. So then I thought, okay, you know, when I got diagnosed with breast cancer, I was thinking, why did I get breast cancer? I think like everything happens for a reason. What the heck's the reason? Yeah. So I thought, well, maybe it's because it's just to help people when they're getting newly diagnosed, because it's overwhelming when you get diagnosed. And I thought, well, there's something else. Yeah. And that's when I thought, wait, there should be a dating app for people that have sexual dysfunction, because I crave or desire other forms of intimacy.
Sure.
I just
we all
can't
do.
have, right. Yeah. I mean, even intimacy could be holding hands or kissing or hugging or whatever. It doesn't have to be
snuggling.
Yeah,
and just, like,
and
holding
even
each
long
other.
conversations or whatever.
Yes.
So I thought that's why I'm like, I'm going to create this dating app, and it's called Entwine, and it went live a couple of months ago. But it takes the sexual expectations out of dating.
Sure.
Because
Which is very rare these days. Because
Yes.
I like when in your bio you talked about us comparing it to some of the other dating apps, and it's very different. Because when I was single, those dating apps, I hated them. Sorry guys, but it sucks. Okay, you guys are scumbags. All right, there, get your shit together. Like it really sucks.
Well, I mean, women aren't any better either,
I
right?
agree. I'm not saying that we are, because there are a lot of okay.
Yeah.
It works both ways.
Right. Yeah. So so then I also thought, imagine if you put yourself in a position of a guy that would go on a date.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, when do I tell the woman? Same with the women, like same with myself. Like,
right.
When do I tell the guy that I can't have intercourse? And it's all that pressure that's taken away. The cards are on the table right away. If you're using Entwine, you know that intercourse is not a possibility.
Yeah.
It may be, but you may not, the other person may not want it. And you can also talk about what levels of intimacy you're comfortable with, because maybe a breast cancer survivor may not want someone that's touching their breasts or whatever, because it's still like just sensitive. There's a lot of pain still there that I have, and
oh wow,
yeah,
so the pain doesn't go away.
It's all numb basically.
Yeah.
My chest is all numb, but I still feel like occasional
sensations.
Yeah, it's like if anybody like pokes me in the stomach. 'Cause I had abdominal surgery to create my breast, and that can it was all numb and everything. So if somebody like pokes me in the stomach, it hurts so bad. I don't even want to explain it, but so the dating app Entwine, it's not just for people that have cancer. It could be someone that has cardiac conditions, PTSD, antidepressants, long-term antidepressants. Some kinds can cause libido issues, and ED in men, and so there's just so many different individuals that would benefit from using Entwine, because they're just silently staying alone because they're tired of being rejected, and it's just not fair. Especially people that have gone through stuff like breast cancer or prostate cancer. They've been through so much, and now it's like, okay, you took away whatever body part of mine, and now you're taking away my libido or a sex drive, whatever it is, or sexual dysfunction causing that. It's not fair.
No, it isn't fair. So that's why I think that it was very important to have you on the show and talk about it, because it is, I think someone, and first of all, thank you for being so brave and so open and so honest to talk about this with the audience, because I know that it can be a little scary to be so vulnerable and talk about those things that are so sensitive. There's such a stigma around sex, and talking about the vagina, talk about, our body parts, when it's, we are beautiful the way that we are made. There's nothing to be ashamed of. I'm very open, obviously, or I wouldn't have the podcast. I talk about everything. So for me, it doesn't make me feel uncomfortable, but for some people, it can be very uncomfortable to talk about that.
It is.
And so you were brave enough for a lot of people out there that might be going through the similar experiences that you are, and you're offering a platform to those individuals that want to find that deeper connection. They want to find that companionship, because we all deserve to have love, and whatever that looks like for you, I think it's important to have that outlet to do that. So I think that it's amazing that you created this, and I'm excited to see your success and where it goes.
Thank you very much. And it's kind of funny because I just started going out. I've been with my ex-husband since I was in 8th grade.
Oh my gosh.
So he's my one and only.
Wow.
So I was never going out or anything, and then I became a karaoke whore. So I have my kids every other week. So I'm like, what am I gonna do? I'm like, I love singing, and I mean, I don't know if anybody else likes to hear me sing, but I don't care. So I go to karaoke like Tuesday through Saturday, every other week, and I have a lot of fun. But I have been meeting some guys, and they're like, oh, hey, can I have your number? I'm like, well, let me tell you about this app I'm creating. And when I tell them, and they're like, oh, well, you're the perfect reason why a guy wouldn't want to be with you. I'm like, oh,
whoa, they say that?
Yeah, and it didn't bother me because I'm expecting all these rude comments, and it just confirms, this is why I'm making this app, right?
Yeah.
There's other, you have other holes?
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah, you have other holes, and
you
haven't been with the right guy yet. Wait till you're with me, and you orgasm with me. You'll be cured. Like, wow, you're like Jesus. I'm gonna, I should have met you like 20 years ago.
Wow.
So I'm taking this. Entwine takes this uncomfortable, awkward conversation.
We're gonna take 1 minute, you guys. Here's a word from our sponsors. Hey guys, Deanna here with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. If you're anything like me, you're a bit overwhelmed by all the teeth whitening products on the market. This next sponsor has provided me with some very interesting facts to pass on to you. Fact number 1, teeth whitening does not whiten your teeth. It removes the stains and restores the tooth to its natural color. Natural colors vary per person, but for most, it's an off-white or slightly yellowish undertone. Fact number 2, teeth whitening does not damage teeth, but it does temporarily dehydrate. When dehydrated, the pores in the enamel are open and exposed. Open pores invite acids and sugars, which, as we all know, lead to tooth decay. Avoid or minimize acidic and sugary substance for at least 24 hours after whitening. Also, avoid staining substances as the teeth are more susceptible to restaining during this period. Fact number 3, tooth sensitivity is the result of tooth dehydration. When the pores of the enamel are open, the teeth become dehydrated, exposing the nerve to the elements. As the tooth rehydrates, the sensitivity will dissipate. To accelerate the rehydration and curb sensitivity, use a post-whitening application known as remineralization or desensitizing gel. Fact number 4, caps and veneers cannot be whitened because they do not have pores for the stains to latch to. Prior to having dental work, you should whiten your teeth, restoring them to their natural color, as the dentist will be color matching to your current shade. Fact number 5, the key to teeth whitening is the delivery device. So long as a whitening product is a peroxide based whitener, it will remove the stains. What differentiates one product from the next is the device that holds the whitening agent to the tooth without interruption. Whitening strips neglect the crevices and molars, and they slide on your teeth. Saliva floods the generic trays because they are bulky and do not create a seal. And that's something I used to use. So it's good to know this. And you likely did not know this, but LED lights are novelty items that add no benefit. You need a high output UV light only found at the dentist. Don't fall for the gimmick. If you insist on a light that does not work, get one on Amazon for under $15 or under $5, whatever. The number 1 whitening device recommended by dentists is a custom fitted tray. You can have your dentist make your trays for $300 to $500, or you can head on over to www.smilebrilliant.com and use their lab direct mail-in process for a fraction of the price you would pay at the dentist. Oh, and if you grind your teeth at night, you can also purchase the Smile Brilliant's custom fitted night guards, once again for a fraction of the price the dentist charge. Once again, that's www.smilebrilliant.com and use coupon code FREE for 30% off for an exclusive discount by Label Free Podcast. Are you guys happy teeth whitening?
So just it is kind of funny when I do talk to men about my app. Some of them are very supportive, and I never hear from anybody. I haven't gone on a date yet because I think that does scare them away, and it's okay. I'd rather have a guy say, "Hey, intercourse is important to me."
Yeah.
And if you can't have it, I'd rather not. I don't want them to convince themselves that it's okay.
Yeah. But you know what I would wonder is how many of them, because there's that many, I didn't know the numbers, and that's pretty alarming that there's over 3 million men that have ED. Is that what you said?
33, something like 30 million in the U.S.
30 million men have erectile dysfunction.
Like that, yeah.
So I would probably bet that one or more of those men have got that issue that had that response to you.
Right, and they have said something like, well, I'm getting older, and I do have issues too, and I don't have ED, but it's just like performance anxiety, whatever it is. They watch too much porn, whatever it is. That's also
that's on you, man. You got performance anxiety. Then maybe you should take a break from the porn.
It's true. Yeah. It's crazy what's the stuff I've heard, but I think it definitely is needed.
Yeah, for sure. I think that it's going to grow over time. People, I'm sure not a lot of people are going to be very open about it, but they're going to be very curious about it if they do have underlying issues that are preventing them from having the sexual intercourse or anything like that. So what does entwine mean? Because I like that name. What does that mean?
Entwine, like entwining something together, like interlocking pipe, entwining people together and creating relationships.
I like that. Why'd you pick that name?
We were going to go with comfortable companions, and I was told that it sounds like baby diapers, so or adult diapers, but and I'm like, fine, it's too long. So then I came up with Entwine. So
Yeah, I like that. I like
something
that
short
name.
and sweet. So
What is your ultimate goal? Like, what do you want to see happen with the dating app?
I just want the word just to go viral, so people, because there's so many people that are quiet about it. It's very taboo. You know, they don't want to. Nobody wants to talk about it. So I just want to help as many people as possible. I mean, my app is free.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have premium features available, but so I'm not about making all this money and everything. My goal is to help people. That's my ultimate goal, is to help people that have been struggling for so many years, and it's depressing.
Yeah.
You know, and I want them to know that there's hope now.
Yeah.
And, you know, they can find somebody that will accept them for their sexual limitations.
And so, where are you promoting this app at? So how can people find it?
They can find it at entwinedating.com and also on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
And is it just downloadable on any smartphone?
Right now, it's only available on Android, but if you
Okay.
go to the website, that's where you could download either version, either
Oh, okay.
Android or iOS. So iOS, from what I understand from the developer, is that they're not accepting any new dating apps because there's a lot of scams out there.
Oh, wow.
So I have to just tell them, hey,
Yeah.
look, I've been interviewed, I've been on podcasts, look at all these success stories.
Yes.
So then I can plead my case and they can say, okay, you're legit, you're helping
Sure.
people. And I guess Apple's really into helping people. So I think once they hear this, I'm hoping that they...
Yeah, I think it would probably eventually go viral, but I didn't know that. So what do you mean there's scams when it comes to dating apps? Can you share that with us? Because I didn't hear that before.
From what I understand is that they'll make this dating app, you know, they'll spend a little bit of money on it, and people will sign up, put their information in, and maybe their credit card information, and then, or these people are, you know, catfish.
Okay.
You know,
be careful.
Yes.
We're sharing something with you right
Yes,
now.
be
Be careful.
Yes.
Go to Entwine Dating.
Yeah. Right. If your vagina's broken, yeah. Yeah. But then there's other conditions too, that besides vaginismus and even just painful intercourse. That's what I had before I had cancer, you know, and I just could do without it because it's never given me pleasure. But
Oh, that's too bad. That's awful.
it's
But
okay.
there are other ways of intimacy that are
For sure,
very
yeah.
fulfilling. You know, I mean, a bubble bath, washing each other down,
Yeah.
you know, watching TV on the couch together, holding, and that is a great way to really connect even more with someone. And that is where I feel like there's just so much more passion and so much more satisfaction when you can connect with somebody at a deeper level.
Yes, I think I agree
You
too.
know, because
It's
it has to be
emotional.
more than just sex.
Yeah.
You know, it has to be more than just sex. So I think that you're on something. And even so, when you interviewed with my booking manager, Julie, her sister, I don't know if she told you this, but she told her sister about her interview with you. And she was just like, she shared with me that her sister, you know, she takes care of her mother and the other sister. She's a caretaker, and there's no way that she would really be able to find someone that would understand her situation. So even for her that has this limited lifestyle, she thought that this would be a great option for her, even though she doesn't have those sexual limitations, but being able to connect with somebody on a deeper level that understands, like, you know, she's got other responsibilities, you know, because when you get in a relationship, it's usually all about that other person,
Right.
you know, and if you're going to have a well-balanced relationship with or without that sexual intimacy, you have to be able to be connected on a much deeper level.
It's true.
Yeah. And so I think, I mean, this is just some thoughts that I was just having, maybe going to doctor's offices and dropping off stuff.
Especially therapists.
Okay.
So there's mental health therapists, and there's also physical therapists for pelvic floor. That's where I went to.
Okay.
And it can be urologist offices.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of reaching all these people, as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
And even the therapists I have talked to, I've only talked to like 4 so far in person,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Oh, I have 3 patients that need this app."
Yeah.
And that's just 3 or 4, whatever,
Right.
therapists I talked to. So I emailed as far as, I don't know, I think it was 100 therapists just the other day. I found their email addresses, and I actually had people respond and that they said, "This is awesome.
Yeah.
We need this," because the therapists, they like to hear solutions for their patients or their clients, because when they're like, "Oh, I can't, I have ED. What do I do?" And like, "Oh, I think something I found on the internet, it said, "How do I date with ED?" And it said, "Well, go on a date."
Yeah.
And once you realize you want to have a relationship with this person, invite them to your house, and then leave a book on the table about ED.
Yeah.
And then when they see the ED book, then you could say, oh, look, I wanted to talk to you about this. I'm like,
that's a little weird.
Yeah.
I don't know about that one.
Why don't you just put a documentary about ED, and then when you watch a movie, here, I got some popcorn. You don't have to hold it.
Oh, man, that's a little weird.
It's
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If you're a guy out there that has done that, don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
That's just a little weird.
And even when my girlfriends are like, don't tell the guy right away that you have a broken vagina. I'm like, but that's not fair.
Yeah.
I mean, what does she want to know if a guy could, had ED?
Well, if you're going to be looking for a more deeper connection, then I don't think that's the first thing that you should start talking about.
I mean, I do, but
yeah.
I did something really bad the other day.
Okay, what did you do?
I probably offended this guy, but it was a really nice guy. But then when I told him about my app, he's just like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, I knew he didn't want my number anymore. So I said, you know what? I gave him my business card. I said, if you ever have ED in the future, please just call me.
That's awesome.
And he's just like, I'm like, just take it. I said, I'm just kidding. No, actually, I'm not kidding. Like, really, just call me if you. I mean, not that I would have wished anybody that has sexual dysfunction. I mean, but when you have these jerks out there, just,
yeah. Well, I think he probably had that coming. So good for you for doing that.
Yeah.
So before we start wrapping things up, can you please plug out your links one more time so that they know where to find you?
So my web address is entwinedating.com. That's ENTWINE. And then on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as well, it's Entwine Dating, at Entwine Dating.
Awesome. And I will make sure to put all those links in the show notes, you guys. So please, if you know someone that has an issue that is looking to find love, looking for some companionship, head on over to the dating app and just join and see where it can take you, because it can't hurt. I like to ask all my guests to leave a piece of wisdom or advice before we say goodbye. So what would you like to tell the audience before we say goodbye?
If you are someone that's struggling with sexual dysfunction, there's hope for you. And it's like getting emotional.
That's okay. Good. Get emotional. That's good.
I just want to help. And I think this is definitely needed. And just don't be shy. Sign up. You have nothing to lose. And you're going to find someone that will accept you for you. And you deserve that. You deserve to be loved too. It doesn't matter what your limitations are.
Oh my gosh, you're going to make me cry. I love that. I totally agree. That's why we're here today, because, this is Label-Free Podcast. We live without labels. We don't want to live, what our conditions are do not define us and do not make us who we are. And that's why I started Label-Free Podcast, and that's why I wanted to have you on as a guest, because I think
Thank you so much for
what you're doing is very
me.
important. But yes, thank you for being a guest.
And I get to meet you in person. Don't be jealous.
Oh, that was cute. All right, you guys, this is your host, Deanna Kemple with Label-Free Podcast. Live your best life. You must live label-free. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share, follow, all those good things. And I'll be back soon with more dynamic guests.